Right, we now come to the statement. I call the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Growth is the #1 mission of this Labour government, and to grow the economy we need to help great British businesses export around the world. That includes to China. As the second biggest economy in the world and our fourth largest trading partner, not engaging is simply not an option.
The House of Commons, a stage where the drama is as thick as the tea is strong. And this week it served up a gem worthy of the bard himself. Rachel Reeves, Labour's shadow chancellor, found herself at the centre of a theatrical takedown, branded as the Hamlet of fiscal mismanagement. So let's unpack this Shakespearean spectacle, shall we?
To help great British businesses export around the world. That includes to China. As the second biggest economy in the world and our fourth largest trading partner, not engaging is simply not an option.
Reeves has been busy, and by busy I mean finding increasingly creative ways to make life harder for the working class, while ignoring a few glaringly obvious sources of spending that could be trimmed. But hey, why go after bloated foreign aid budgets or endless spending in Ukraine when you can just hike up national insurance and call it a day? Let's kick things off with national insurance, Labour's favourite piggy bank. Rachel Reeves has decided to slap businesses with a £25 billion hike in employer contributions. But it's for the NHS, they cry, as if saying that absolves them of creating a business-killing tax burden. Sure, the NHS needs funding, no one's denying that, but maybe instead of adding more tax, how about looking at where the money is actually going?
Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Mel Stride.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Can I at the outset say it is good to see the Chancellor in her place and to thank her for advance sight of her statement. Mr. Speaker, I know that the Chancellor has been away, so let me update her on the mess that she left behind.
But here's the thing, when you dig deeper you find that instead of addressing waste or inefficiencies in these systems, they're just shoveling more money into the same mismanaged machine. It's like trying to fix a sinking ship by throwing more buckets into the water. And who foots the bill when employers get squeezed? That's right, the very people Labour claims to stand for.
The pound has hit a 14-month low. Government borrowing costs are at a 27-year high. Growth has been killed stone dead. Inflation is rising, impacting millions. Interest rates are staying higher for longer, and business confidence has fallen through the floor. The party opposite talked down the economy. They crippled businesses with colossal taxes, breaking all their promises. This is a crisis made in Downing Street.
Higher costs mean fewer jobs and smaller paychecks, which is just what every working-class family needs during a cost-of-living crisis. Genius, isn't it? Oh, pensions, once the sacred cow of British politics. Now, it's the scapegoat. Reeves has floated ideas that make it clear. If you're relying on your pension to get you through retirement, you'd better think again.
The UK's long-term borrowing costs have risen to their highest in almost 30 years. But while the government was losing control of the economy, Mr. Speaker, where was the Chancellor? But she sent the Chief Secretary rather than face up to her own failures.
For years, the triple lock, a promise to increase pensions by inflation, wages, or 2.5%, whichever is higher, has been a lifeline for pensioners. But now it's looking more like a suggestion than a guarantee. If Labour were serious about pensions, they'd stop treating them as an afterthought. Instead, they'd protect the savings of those who've spent decades contributing to the system. But no, better to make a U-turn when no one's looking and hope we don't notice.
So can I ask the Right Honourable Lady why she chose not to respond herself? Mr. Speaker, the Chancellor, of course, ducked the difficult questions by jetting off to Beijing. I believe that in Labour circles they are calling it the Peking duck, Mr. Speaker. Well, whatever was on the menu in China, was it really worth the unedifying sight of an increasingly desperate politician scampering halfway around the world with a begging bowl?
Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephants overseas. While Reeves is busy rummaging through our pockets, foreign aid to Pakistan remains untouched, and the cash pipeline to Ukraine shows no signs of slowing down. I mean, sure, Britain's public services are struggling, pensioners are choosing between heating and eating, and workers are being taxed to oblivion, but let's send millions abroad. After all, it's not like there's anything important to fix here, right? Now, don't get me wrong, helping other countries is noble, but charity begins at home, doesn't it? Or has Labour decided that's just too old-fashioned for the 21st century? And speaking of foreign lands, let's not forget Rachel Reeves's recent jaunt to China. Yes, you heard that right. Reeves seems to think we can take a few notes from China's playbook and suddenly turn Britain into an economic powerhouse. Sure, Rachel, let's also start building skyscrapers overnight and relocating towns while we're at it.
Mr. Speaker, this whole sorry tale is nothing short of a Shakespearean tragedy, playing out before our eyes. This is the Hamlet of our time. They promised the electorate much while pouring the poison into their ear. At the end, you can feel the end. The Chancellor flailing, estranged it seems from those closest to her, those about her falling, the drums beating ever closer. To go or not to go, that is now a question. The Prime Minister will be damned if he does, but he will surely be damned if he does not. The British people deserve better.
Here's an idea, Rachel. Instead of looking to China, why not focus on nations that actually share our values and economic structure? Germany, for instance, is doing wonders with its manufacturing sector, or the US, which, for all its flaws, knows how to drive innovation. Britain isn't China, and frankly, it never should be. And where is Keir Starmer in all of this? Oh, he's there, all right, hovering in the background, smiling and nodding like he's at a silent disco. Critics say his leadership, or lack thereof, is part of the problem. Under his watch, Labour has become a party of grand promises and zero execution. Starmer's Labour is like a pub quiz team that's brilliant at coming up with team names, but hopeless when it comes to answering the actual questions. And Reeves is his star player, great at pointing fingers but short on real solutions. So what's the solution? For starters, maybe it's time for Labour to admit that their economic policies are about as effective as a chocolate teapot. Raising taxes, cutting pensions, and dreaming of becoming China aren't exactly the strategies Britain needs right now. The truth is, Britain needs leaders who understand the struggles of ordinary citizens, not politicians who think the answer to every problem is more taxes. If Labour can't deliver on their promises or even make the right promises, then maybe it's time for them to step aside and let someone else have a go. Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer might think they're steering Britain in the right direction, but the reality tells a different story. From punishing tax hikes to ill-advised pension policies, it's clear they're out of their depth.
Keir Starmer doesn't appear to be getting the blame for Rachel Reeves' budget, which is called Rachel Reeves' budget.
It's because it's the establishment, isn't it? You know, they're just not going to admit it. I mean, it's amazing how many people you talk to on the left who try to blame everything that's happening now with the economy still on Liz Truss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's completely economically illiterate to do that. And, you know, the bottom line is they're not going to get this growth that they go on about when they continue to tax people to the hill and spend as if there's no tomorrow.
Maybe Reeves can take one last lesson from her trip to China, knowing when to call it quits. And if Labour can't figure that out, well, the British public might just decide for them at the ballot box. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you're as baffled by Labour's antics as I am. Stay informed stay sharp, and remember, when it comes to politics, always follow the money.